Hello again. This is the Waterman, Spiritual Toolbox, number 134, the love chapter number 110, audio recording number 452, and examination table 114. Let me check something. Okay. All right. Now we'll be continuing in 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 11. The King James says, "When I was a child, I spake as a child. When I was a child, I spake as a child. I understood as a child. I thought as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things." Okay, and we've covered down to, let's see, we're down to the one they have as I thought as a child. Okay, we covered when I was a child, I spake as a child, and I understood as a child. Now we're I thought as a child. Okay, now let's get on up here. Okay, of course it goes as a child I thought. Okay, it's in the interlinear. Make sure it's turned up. Okay. Now, this course as, it's that HOS, host, or whatever, and then it comes from that when you get on down, chase it down through the root, through the etymology of it, it's associated with that. It's the ball, that H-O, that this one, that one, the definite article, it's that marble. Our marble thinking process, whenever God's purifying it. Shall I karate chop this stuff out of you? As you agree in hot pursuit. Yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. Through these 3 ages, these 3 days in your earthly thinking, God's burning it out, burning up that humanistic thinking process, that wood, with his consuming fire. And then he's melting it out, melting the inside out of it. It's like rubberized concrete, hardened down poop, your own righteousness, that dung, right? My righteousness is as filthy rags, and I count all things as dung for winning Christ, right? This is just your own right thinking, your own trying to make up your own mind out of your own might and power is just dung. It's bullcrap. It's worthless and detestable. It does you no good. You can't do nothing with that. Okay? You can't touch the spirit. You can't touch this, right? You can't touch the spirit, the right-mindedness of God. Going back into this love beyond words, with this conditional love, with this hope, and with this just your man-made faith, and your might and power and all this stuff. Believing all this good and bad, and all your works. And it's not by works lest any man boast, any person boast. That's just bullcrap. Okay? Quit trying to fly like an eagle. They'll mount up with wings as eagles, trying to work themselves to death. They'll run and not grow weary. They're working themselves to death, trying to do everything. Oh, ministering out of the need and not out of the lead of the Spirit. They're, oh, I'm just one time kill myself. Oh, there's so much stuff to do. Oh, everybody, I gotta get my nose in everybody's business. I gotta do this, gotta do that. Oh, no, do. Does that not sound like the Jebusite? That big bad bully. And you telling you, do. Put poo-poo in your temple. No, you're not. That you are the temple of the living God. Not some stupid building out here. It's just a meeting place. Right? A Hiram. Just that natural temple. That's not what I was talking about. What did they do when they had this great big, man, they were just, them Jews were just that, they were, all the religious people and stuff back there was just, oh my, that, check out this big old bad building, this Hiram that we, this church, this temple, yeah, man, it's just so good. I don't know what it's about. They were getting all huffy puffy and stuff, and Jesus wasn't even really talking about that. That doesn't. Just don't entangle yourself in all that cares of the world. Don't matter. That stuff's just like the grass of the field. It's here today and gone tomorrow. All that stuff's used to help purify your mind. That's what's important. Changing those marbles, your thinking processes, from now this poop covered, this your own righteousness covering that little seed, that limited measure of faith that God put in all, right? Romans chapter 12:3, okay? He put it in there. Now he's going to transform all that. So he's bringing storms in your life, pressures. It could be from in any form God chooses. Could be even winning $1 million. But see, that can bring a lot of stuff in, a lot of pressures and stuff that you don't anticipate. Could be going, woo, woo, oh man, crap. Everybody's trying to beg me for money. So I don't want to, I want to help them, but man, if I do, I ain't going to, well, you get all kinds of turmoil going on in your head. Yeah, there could be all kinds of crap. You don't even know. It's bring these things. So that in these storms, in this midst of a storm, or really, really harsh things in the natural, all kinds of stuff, financial problems, all kinds of stuff. There's pressures, and so in the eye of that storm, you got to make a decision to agree in hot pursuit with God, turn from that reliance upon your own might and power, your own feeding from that tree of knowledge of good and evil, and turn to God, no matter what it appears like in the natural. You got to do a 180-degree about face from that bullcrap thinking. Your own righteousness. Ooh, it's just filthy, stinking rags. That old stuff you thought you were so proud of, rip that crap off your neck. That tainted golden chain stuff and all this stuff you thought you was going to provide for everybody else's fish. It's rotten. It's rotting. And they got gold and silver. Speaking of the nature, supposedly, it's a false. They're images, idolatry. False images of gold, the nature, character, and authority of God, and the silver, the redemption of God. It's going to deliver you. It's going to rescue you. No, it's not. Throw that crap off there. Let God wash that stuff off of you. Power wash you off of you. You right? A lot of pressure in that power washer, right? Right? With the water, with the word, the thought processes, his right-mindedness, and you agree, exist, right? Right back into him every time. Got to persevere. Go through this stuff. Endure it. Patient endurance, right? To get this and all the way back in, and then that marble's chopped all out on the outside and stuff, burned up, and then it's melted out from the inside. And all the time it's been transformed, little by little, into the spirit, to the right-mindedness of God, to that love beyond words. God, he's bringing you full circle from this love that he has for us. That child, it's incomplete. It's not two-way love yet. Okay, we don't return it yet. But whenever he takes you through all this hard stuff and you're building that relationship with him, but he's building it. He's giving you opportunities. And as you go full bore in hot pursuit of him, with everything you got, you in agreement and appreciation and recognizing, oh, wow, you're great, Father. You're my exceeding great reward. Because every time it's like a big release, a big burden lifted off of you. And it's a little bit more pure, that marble, that one thought process, one little area of your thinking process is getting a little bit more of the burden lifted off of it. This dark matter, dark energy stuff is clouding your thinking and pushing that, any truth in that, real truth of God is being pushed away from other potential of truth, right? The faith, hope, and love in there a little bit, but it's conditional love. It's that hope. It's hopelessness. It seems hopelessness. It's hopelessness to your carnal mind doing it. And that faith, it's like a 1 into negative 35 thought processes. Ooh. Divide one thought process by 10, 35 times. It's like the whole size of the observable universe, plumbed down to, and that's his seed. That's God himself inside. That's that potential that can grow and transform that whole marble thinking process. See, so there's little universes inside another universe, inside your universe of a mind, and then my universe of a mind, Lisa's universe of a mind. Okay, all God's limitless. Okay, now God's transforming it and always in a higher, from a lower realm, this carnal, natural, non-spiritual, your own righteousness, back into the Spirit of God. It's like rocket fuel. He's burning it up, lifting you up. Okay? Now, so let's see this verse here now again. We're working on it, okay? When I was a child, I spake as a child, right? I understood as a child. I thought as a child. Now, remember, let's get down here to it. It says, as a child I thought. Okay, as was that breaking it down in there, and you're thinking that's actually that marble. This one, that one, the one God's working on. Okay? In your mind. Okay? Getting your mind right. You got to do it. Get your mind right before you can ever even possibly help anybody else. Don't try to get what you see as a splinter out of someone else's eye. You got a big old log in your own eye. You big dummy. Right? You gotta think that way too. Don't do that. Okay? If it's removed or whatever, you can help them when they need it. That braided rope's getting bigger. You can help them in that area. There's still, you gotta realize, there's still a lot more that God's braiding and making your rope bigger and bigger and bigger all the time. Okay, reigniting those marbles, taking them all the way through, purifying them, and boom, ignited them in fusion fire. And holding them tightly, securely as a star in your mind, okay? And there's all kinds of stars in that potential, that universe of a mind. Okay? The natural universe, they're estimating 1e to the 24, 1 with 24 zeros after number of stars. That's in what the scientists saying in the natural. Let's guess, that's a huge number. And it's increasing constantly. And God's unifying, not pushing apart. The natural, the carnal mind is enmity with God. That carnal, non-spiritual thinking process is like dark energy pushing it away, and dark matter clouding it up so it's hard to detect. Hard to know anything, understand anything about it. It's guarding the way back to the tree of life. It's like in that Garden of Eden, on the east side of it, speaking of confusion, chaos and confusion, place that cherubim, that imaginary figure, your imagination, your carnal stinking thinking. All those giants in your land, and all that yuck thinking. It's poop. To guard the way, to keep you from being able to get back to the tree of life, to God himself, and doing it for your own self, out of your own might and power. It's impossible. It's absolutely not allowed by God. But as you agree, as God's bringing you out of this stuff, you realize, oh my. So you can do all things, not through or in. Or going from out of this stuff, going back in, God. From out of, towards, into, and in, God. Meta. Mata, I think is the way they pronounce that. It's all speaking of, it's got to be God's way or no way. Be in hot pursuit of Him. Okay? Now, so this ball, this marble, a child, telling you whatever state of existence. When I was that marble thing, it was like a child, as a simple-minded, immature, non-speaking child of God. All kinds of poop thinking. It can't even speak in the love of God, in the thought process, in the language of God, that love beyond words. He's a pure dummy. I'm trying to teach everybody else that it can't even speak one lick, can't do nothing, can't walk, can't do nothing. Okay? It's loved, but it's not. It needs to be taken care of, not try to tell you what to do as an adult. Okay? Now, as a child, I thought. Okay? Thought as a child, right? I thought in this manner. This is way I was thinking, okay? Now, this I thought comes from
Strong's G 3049.
Lagizamai. Okay? Oops, there we go. It's a verb, middle voice from 3056, okay? And that's logos or logos. That's basically, there's a whole lot there, but that's basically the thought processes of God. God's righteousness. God's love beyond words. Okay, so when I was a child, or as a child, this thought process, this nepios, this black poopy thinking, and it's got a little speck. 1 to 35 thought processes down in there that's lit up of God. The rest of it's poop thinking. Kenny don't even know it's there. It ain't really progressed at all. It's a baby. 0 to 2-year-old. All it's been through is just its birth. Okay? Alright. It's from the middle voice of, the middle of it is this logos, the thought process. The middle of that poop thinking, that marble thinking process is the actual seed of God. But it's like one divided, one thought process by 10, 35 times. It'd be like 34 zeros in a 1. Thought processes. Okay? Like that Planck length, measured like in point whatever, and then meters. This is other thought processes, okay? Now, and it's logos, it's like the thought processes of God, God's righteousness, God's love that's beyond words. It's beyond the mere description of words, okay? Okay? Now, alright, now, this lagizomai is a verb, and it means to recount. Online biblical usage here, okay, is to recount, esteem, or consider, okay, to count, make a computation or calculate, like formulate, think about it, meditate on it. The baby's not going to be able to do that. Here, calculate this algebra problem. Or here, how much is 2 plus 2? He can't even speak. And it's like showing each and every individual. If you go down even smaller, it's each and every individual thought process. God's working from the tiniest part of you. Plumb down past where you can think. You could only possibly think down to 1/10 of one thought process. It'd be like a hair length. Okay, it'd be like 1/10 of a millimeter. And that'd be like 1/10 of one thought process. Now, or one thought process of, it'd be like that size of a hair. Okay? And now blow that up to 93 billion times as big, and then looking all the way down at another hair and that's God's thought process, what it's starting out. Now he's going to take and transform that whole thing, bringing it back in the universe to whatever state he wants, ignited different stars, bring it back into unity. And he places you in the body where he's in his right mindedness, where he sees fit. All you got to do is agree. If you don't agree, you don't get that one. You're on to dollar about. You got to go around that mountain again. And he offers it again, it's going to be twice as hard. Let's see. Okay, you fall away. 1 to 2 to 4 to 8 to 16, 32, 64, 128, 256, 512, 1,024 times as hard. It could be a legion. 4,000 to 6,400 times as hard. Very, very quick. And go right on by that, blow by that like it's nothing. Oh, this poop, I'm drowning and I'm in a cave. Oh, it's blacker than all get. I can't see a thing. I can't rely upon. What the? The world's going to hell in a handbasket. Well, you're feeding into it. You're eating that bull crap. Your own righteousness. Stop it. Turn around to a 180-degree about face. It's just getting deeper. You're falling down a spiral staircase, down into a deeper, darker dungeon. It's getting harder and harder and harder. More difficult. Quit it, you stupid. Right? You gotta think that way to yourself. But quit it. Repent. Change the way of thinking about that green hot pursuit of God. He's offering you a way out. Be reasonable, my child, and say my way. He loves you beyond words. Quit shooting yourself in the foot. You can't hardly walk. You can't hardly live. You can't hardly exist. Back into, coming from all that crap thinking. Heading back towards, into, and in. And that's why in a boom is relighting it as a fire. Shooting yourself in the damn foot. Oh, what'd you do that to me for, God? Oh, shot me in the knee. I knew you was a big bad bully. You're doing it to yourself. Quit it. You're going over there and there's a hot stove there. The burner's just burning, man. It's been boiling water in it. And you go, your works. Okay, your hand speaking of your works. You go, what did you burn me for, God? You big dummy. You did it to yourself. Stop that. Okay? Just illustrating it. Okay? That's crazy. Okay? Now, this logizamon, okay, is to esteem, consider, is to recount, to count, to make a computation, to calculate, to settle accounts, as with a person, as followed by up, to settle up with someone, pay up, okay, to count on, to depend on, to rely upon, to have an expectation, have it filled, okay. See, whenever it's coming out of this marble of your thinking process coming through this thing, see, and you're agreeing, it's your count. You're agreeing with God. You can count on God, rely upon God to give that increase. When you go in full bore, God won't fail you. When you do your own poopy thinking, your own righteousness, that's good and bad, it's going to fail you because it cannot succeed permanently, cannot fulfill you, cannot take care of you permanently. God takes you through this as you're going through that eye of the needle. That's that verb, right? He's transforming it. When it gets all the way in there, stuff like gas that has been burning up and stuff is compressed tightly, like in the nucleus. Boom! It's a star. Just like in the universe, that gases are gravitationally pulled, attracted by God's love, like the gravity being like God's love. It burns for God's the fuel, held tightly. And it's in your universe, these lights. Come on, baby, light my fire. Please keep increasing me, Father. I want all that you got for me. Fill my mind with your love, not my own stinking thinking. Burn that crap up. Right? Chop that wood out and burn it up, consume it up with your consuming fire. Melt that stuff out and find it all. Yes, sir. Now, oh, this fire is too hot. It's bad. It's hurting me. Oh, yeah, it's some intense stuff. You see, God's like in there protecting. He's your rock. He's your tower. He's your strong fortress. You put on the right mindedness of God, you're like putting on that armor of God. God's your protection. You're like in the cleft of the rock. God's shielding you, protecting you from all this stuff. But you got to agree wholeheartedly, not rely upon your own stinking thinking. Okay? And as all this stuff has been taken down in there, God's counting it, recounting it. It's returning back to his love in whatever state, little bit by little bit by little bit. He's recounting it. This stuff is dependable. God is dependable when you're in hot pursuit. When you're out this other way, it's dependable, but then that's your falling away. You're going back into your own bullcrap thinking. Your own righteousness, that's filthy, stinking rags, that's dung. Don't do that. It's easy to say that, but in all the complexities of different things going on, you got to recognize that. Okay? Be reasonable, my child, say it my way. Make God true. Acknowledge that God's the truth, and all this humanistic thinking and every good, bad, and ugly state of it is garbage. It's poop. It's hard down. Get rid of that. I don't want that junk. Don't turn back around for it. Turn to a pillar of salt. You can't exist. You can't walk. You can't live back into Christ doing that. Keep falling away, okay? All right. On down in there, it also says to think or suppose, okay? And nepios, marble, okay? Is it reliable, dependable, or to be relied on, right? It's poop. A lot of poop on it. A lot of poop in that thinking. Had darkness. Like relying upon dark matter and dark energy. Can't tell what's going on with your sin in there. Taste that your smell. Your own light and your own power. There's no hope. It stays hopeless. It's the hope. You're shooting in the dark. And you're shooting your arrows, your efforts in the wrong direction. You gotta turn 180 degree about face, change the way you 180 degree doing about face, and go back towards God in your thinking process and shoot your arrows, your efforts towards God in hot pursuit. And God gives the increase. Okay? Back into his truth of God, okay? Now, that's that Laguzma. When you're a baby, 0 to 2-year-old, that's what you think. That's the state of that thinking. And that marble, and it grows from a brephos, unborn child, to a nepios, to a padion, to a teknon, to a weos, and then it goes back into the pater. And boom, that gas is reignited into a star. Okay? Now, let's get down here. Whoops. I don't want to hit the wrong button. Let's start. I only got about a little over a minute left. And I'll start in the next part of that. When I was a child, I spake as a child. I understood as a child. We just covered I thought as a child, okay? Now, but when I became a man, okay? Now, let's see. I thought as a child. Now, when is that hate? Remember that word?
Strong's G 3753. Hate.
Okay, let me see here. I'm gonna find the notes on that. That was the very first word in this verse. Hate. It's a particle. Comes from 39, 5037. Online it means when, whenever, while, as long as. When you're in that state, as long as you're in that state, you're just in trouble, okay? Alright, so that's when. Okay? And then the next one's but, that day, D-E. Okay, I'm going to have to put a line there because I'm about to run out of time. It's this word, 1161 DE.
Strong's G 1161. Day.
Okay, this has been Spiritual Toolbox number 133, I think. Okay. All right, thank you. Bye-bye.